And welcome back, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in as always. I appreciate that. And today let's talk about Homefront, the Revolution. Now this semi-open world first-person shooter has a lot of problems. Even getting it to run with a decent frame rate on my 2-year-old system was a pain. Now what worked for me was that I used the GeForce Experience tool to optimize the settings of the game. So if you have a lot of problems with getting it to run, you should try that. If you get it to run, the game actually has some messed up graphical glitches, like this guy holding what seems to be an imaginary or invisible gun. Yeah. Or this. Or NPCs that just disappear in thin air.
Sit down on the stretchers over here, Jack. Doc, I know, but we can't just disengage. They're hunting us down. Just do what you can.
Okay, so let's talk about the game. Now, future Philadelphia is occupied by the North Koreans. Now, don't ask me why. And the city, I think, is well designed. It looks like a war-torn place, an occupied place inspired by what I think is Half-Life 2's City 17. You'll see enemy soldiers patrolling the streets, giant zeppelins in the sky, drones everywhere, and I think it's a believable place. I really like it. It has that sort of oppressive atmosphere to it. And also, some of the character models look really amazing. Now, this game is powered by the Crytek engine, so that is to be expected. Now, the main story is actually okay. Somewhat cliched, offering what I think is a nice variety of campaign missions, all having to do with you being part of the resistance movement. But here is the problem. The early story missions will only become available until you have won the hearts and minds of the people in a specific district of the city. Now, this sounds like a good idea, but in practice, this means that you'll be running around the city like the errand boy that you are, giving money to beggars, killing guards who are harassing people. And you'll also be doing a lot of scaling of buildings like in Far Cry to get inside apartments in order to turn on the radio so that the radio can pick up the frequency of the resistance, but nobody's living in the apartments. So it's just really ridiculous, I think. And ultimately it feels like you're the only person in the city that actually is doing something, while the other guys are just hanging out in their safe houses around the city, doing not much, I think.
You got a problem with me? Too bad.
But this stuff just gets old really quick. And this is where I think a lot of gamers will stop playing the game, because it just becomes boring. But if you stick with the game, the story actually picks up later on, and the shooting is actually quite fun, especially when an all-out war breaks out between the oppressors and the resistance. So there's a lot of chaos going on, a lot of shooting, and it's just, yeah, it gets better.
Get to the truck! Get to the truck! Move! Get to the truck! Move! Look, man, where'd they go? Get on the Talk to me, honey.
Also, you get a bunch of improvised weapons that you can modify with upgrades, so that's kind of nice. And as you go through the city, you can scavenge for certain items that you need to craft toys, like these RC cars with explosives, hacking devices, and more explosives. Yeah, so that's kind of nice. I think it's basically all competent, and it checks all the right boxes. But there's never a moment in this game where I thought, "Wow, this is really special or different." And there's nothing really that sets it apart from countless other open-world shooters. But still, there is some fun to be had here. Just be sure to pick this game up only when it's cheap, and at the time of this review, it already is, so yeah. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.